it's finally time. After 6 years of waiting, for me at least, the sequel to Goat Simulator is finally here. I am extremely excited, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. So, remember that part in my last video where I said I'm not going to make this one? I wasn't intentionally lying. My motivation was really low at the time, and the getting overwhelmed part I mentioned was true. But after realizing on the 17th that I had less than 2 weeks before the end of the month to make a new video, I pulled up the project file and got to work. Because of this, most of what you are about to see was recorded in November of last year. I just never finished it until now. With that disclaimer out of the way, enjoy the video. The game starts with a parody of the Skyrim intro, because of course it does, where the farmer informs Pilgor, yes, the goat has a name, she always had a name, and it's always been a she, that he has captured you because of your exploits. He then goes on to list that exploits, decanonizing Goatsy and Goat MMO Simulator. At first it's unclear why the farmer kidnapped this goat who has a reputation for trouble, but it gets solved in the end. From there, you are put in a pen similar to the first game and are asked to synchronize a Ubisoft tower. There are about 6 of these scattered throughout the map, and you should try to do them as soon as possible as they let you see where you're going and unlock fast travel. After stepping inside, you are brought to the Goat Castle. You'll need to collect Illuminati points, which I will get to in due time, in order to rank up and destroy more chains on the final boss door. Yes, you heard that right. There is a final boss, and a dang good one at that. It goes so hard. Instead of the small-ish maps from the previous game, you now have a giant open world to explore. This is probably bigger than all the other Goat Sim maps combined, but this world does not feel empty. It is packed full of things to do and sights to see. Your moveset is just how you remember it, and Pilgor feels exactly the same to control. Well, there are a couple of changes. For one, you can now charge your headbutt, but only Pilgor can do that, the other goats can't. You can now emote. There's nothing really much more to say about that. It's not really useful for movement. Third, there's a triple jump now. Don't think of it like 2 extra jumps. Think of it as like the one from Mario 64 where you go hoo 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 wahoo, more right each time. It's very satisfying to pull off and do backflips out of. Perfect landings are now much harder, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Manualing is gone, but it was only ever useful to gain points in the original. Since points are gone, it's not missed. Oh, and the bike is now impossible to control. Not only do you have to steer with the right stick, which is counterintuitive and is hard to grasp on its own, you also have to hold the opposite direction with the left stick to balance. How is anyone supposed to do that? In order to get Illuminati points, as I mentioned, you'll have to complete events. These are similar to the quests in Waves of Space, where you go near something and a quest appears on screen. But the zaniness of the events is turned up to 11 in this game. Helping a guy build an IKEA furniture piece that turns into a portal, win a cooking competition by throwing anything you can inside the pot, including the tables, and save Steve the fish from drowning. The parodies are on point too. You can go to Elon Musk's house, buy loot boxes that take a minute straight of holding the button to open. It's the funny kind of tedious. And participate in quite possibly the coolest puzzle I've ever seen in a video game. And the thing about a lot of these events is, they have permanent effects on the world. When you explode the banana factory, bouncy goo is spilled all over and is never cleaned up. When you help out ballerinas to form a tornado, that tornado is just there, wreaking havoc for the rest of the game. An important thing to note is that with a few exceptions, usually when you need to find something for an event, it's pretty close by. Don't be like me, spending over 20 combined minutes looking for trash bags for this hobo when they are literally right next to him. Save for a couple where you have to search the city for objects. Because of this, most of the events are quick and fun. There's like this one mission where there are 40 boxes spread over like a 5-mile radius that you all have to load in this garage. Wow, that tornado you triggered before can take all of your boxes far away, theoretically, but I cheated it by just reloaded the game a bunch. There are also instincts, which are more like Goatville's quests. Yeah, that game had quests. It's all simple stuff like do an emote, bring a date to the movies, and do the legendary Twisty McGoat trick. These don't award Illuminati points, but karma, which you do also get from events, and these are used to buy gear. This game has a brand new customization system. You'd equip something on your head, back, feet, body, and change the color of your fur. There are also other goats, like the Angry Goat, the Abominana, and Steve, like I mentioned before. Because of this, you can only equip so many abilities at once, as opposed to the original where you can equip every single mutator at the same time and crash your computer. I prefer this though, it feels a lot more polished as opposed to whatever this was. By far the best movement option is the Rocket Boots and the Celestial Wings. Combined, they're the best way to move this game. There's also the Daredevil helmet, which really helps you move, but that's only for driving over 20 ramps, as opposed to these, which can be bought from the start. Gear can also be found in the wild, completing events, and nabbing collectibles. Some of them don't have an ability, they are just for fashion, but those are still really funny, so it feels rewarding regardless. Yes, collectibles. The trophies are back, folks. However, I have great news. They partially fixed them. Whenever you get close to a trinket now, you can hear it sparkling. This makes it fun and rewarding to go for them. They don't start sparkling in a general area, it's when you get really close, so I guess it can be kind of annoying, but it's still much better than in Goat Simulator 1. There's also another collectible now though, ramps. Ramps look like this, usually with these exact boards of wood, and have to be driven over with a vehicle. These are much less fun to look for, mainly because there is no way to tell which ramps you've already driven over. So I ended up driving over the same ramps multiple times. Maybe like patch in a visual change, like they get charred from the fireworks that come off when you go off them. One of this game's big selling points is the multiplayer. Up to 4-player co-op. Should we tell them? Yeah, I only had one person who wanted to play with me, but it was fun. I didn't get to play all of the minigames, but they were pretty good from what I played. The fun part about it is that you can trigger them everywhere. So like you could start a game of Car Derby inside the wall and soft lock your game.
So, yes, in conclusion, Goat Simulator 3 is a very good game. However, it's not extremely accessible. It's only available on next-gen consoles at the moment, and if you want it on PC, you'll have to buy it on the Epic Game Store, which, understandably, is a huge turnoff for some people. But if you have one of those platforms, then give it a shot. Okay, video's over now, bye.